I always thought the strangest conversation I'd ever had with Jenna would be something about kids' names or whether we should get a dog or a cat first. I never imagined it would be her sitting across from me, calmly asking if she could sleep with her ex-boyfriend. For closure, it was Tuesday night. I remember that clearly because we had taco night every Tuesday. She was quiet all day, picking at her food, barely looking up from her phone. She'd been off all week, distracted, cold, even kind of jittery. I thought maybe work stress or wedding pressure was just piling up. We were 6 months away from getting married. We'd already picked a venue, paid deposits, sent out save the dates. Life was moving forward. Then she dropped her fork. Not accidentally, deliberately. That sound it made as it hit the plate still echoes in my head sometimes. She looked at me like she was about to confess to murder. "Marcus," she said, voice shaking just a little, "I need to tell you something." I set my drink down. My stomach tightened. That tone never leads anywhere good. I've been talking to Trevor. Trevor, her ex, the tattooed, emotionally unavailable guitarist who treated her like garbage for 2 straight years before she finally got the strength to leave. I didn't flinch. I just nodded. "Okay." "He messaged me last week," she said, "just to check in. We caught up. It wasn't a big deal. But, always the worst word. I realized something," she continued, her voice softening into that careful, therapist-approved tone. "I never really got closure with him. We ended so abruptly. There are still things I never said, questions I never asked, feelings I never resolved." I blinked. "Unresolved feelings?" She nodded. "Not love, just lingering stuff, things I need to process." I felt my fork pause midair. I knew where this was going, but I didn't want to believe it. She reached across the table and grabbed my hand. "I love you. I want to marry you. But before we take that next step, I need to close that chapter properly. I need to see him. One more time." I just looked at her. She was serious. Eyes locked on mine like she was asking for a blessing, not a betrayal. "How do you plan to close this chapter?" I asked, my voice calm, almost attached. Her gaze dropped to her plate. "I want to spend one night with him. Talk. Feel whatever needs to be felt. Say the things I didn't get to say. Get out of my system. Spend time with him." I repeated. She nodded. "One night. That's it. Then it's over forever. And I'll really know that I've chosen the right person." I stared at her. "You're asking permission to sleep with your ex." "It's not like that," she insisted. "It's not just about sex. It's emotional closure. The physical part is just part of it." She said it like she was asking for time off work, not permission to betray me. 3 years. That's how long we'd been together. We'd share holidays, bury grandparents, helped each other through job losses and health scares. I proposed to her under the stars with a ring I spent 5 months saving up for. And here she was, calmly explaining why she needed one last night with the man who broke her, just confirmed that I was the better choice. "You know what, Jenna?" I said, nodding slowly. "Take all the closure you need." Her eyes widened. "Really? You understand?" "Absolutely. Go right ahead." She lit up. She actually smiled. Then she jumped out her seat and came around the table, throwing her arms around me, covering my face in kisses. "You're amazing," she said. "So mature. This is why I love you. It's just one night, and then we'll be better than ever. When were you planning this closure session?" I asked. "Saturday night," she said, eyes sparkling like she was planning a surprise date night. "He has a show Friday. We were going to meet after. Just talk and, yeah." I smiled. "Text me the address." She hesitated. "Why?" "Just want to know where you are. For safety." That made her even happier. She kissed me again and practically skipped into the bedroom. I sat there for a while, looking at her untouched tacos, the engagement ring on her finger catching the kitchen light. That night, once she fell asleep, I did what I'd never done in 3 years. I checked her phone. "Yeah, I know, but she just asked me to let her screw her ex." That's not a relationship anymore. That's a negotiation. I found the address easily. Trevor had sent it with a "can't wait" red heart. and she replied with same pleading face, and some emoji I don't even want to decode. There were plenty of misses and felt like old times messages. No therapy talk. No healing intentions. Just foreplay disguised as nostalgia. I sat there for a while, staring at her messages, at her sleeping figure beside me. She looked peaceful, like someone who had just unburdened herself. And maybe she had. Then I picked up my phone and dialed. Marcus. Richard's voice came on after the third ring. Jenna's dad. Former Marine. Owns a construction business. Straight shooter. No nonsense. He's always liked me. Calls me son. Hey, Richard, I said. Sorry to call so late. Got a weird question for you. Everything okay? Jenna mentioned she's helping her friend Sarah move on Saturday. Did she say anything to you guys? Pause. She told her mom she's going on a spa weekend with Kayla, he said slowly. Interesting, I said. Might be a mix-up. My bad. Marcus, he said, his voice shifting. What's going on? I exhaled. I'm not trying to stir anything, but she's planning to see Trevor Saturday night. The silence on the other end was long and heavy. Trevor, her ex-Trevor? He finally said. Yeah. I didn't need to explain more. Richard already knew Trevor's history, knew the damage he caused, knew Jenna had cried on his shoulder for weeks when Trevor cheated on her with a bartender. She says she needs closure. I added. Another pause. What's the address? He asked. I gave it to him. He didn't say another word. Just hung up. I set my phone down, climbed into bed, and stared at the ceiling. She wanted closure, and I was going to make sure she got it, just not the way she expected. Saturday crept up faster than I expected. Jenna was glowing all week, the kind of radiant that comes from a twisted mix of self-righteousness and fantasy. She wasn't nervous, not guilty. She was giddy, floating around the apartment like she had just been granted enlightenment. This is going to be so good for us, she told me Thursday night, standing in front of the bathroom mirror. You'll see. After this, nothing will be between us. I nodded, brushing my teeth. She smiled at me through the mirror. I'm so lucky you understand. Not many guys would. That part was true. Not many guys would. And certainly not the kind of guy she believed I was. But I had learned the hard way. Some people mistake tolerance for weakness. And some people don't realize they've crossed a line until they're standing on the other side, watching the door close behind them. Friday night. She told me she was staying in to get centered before her big closure event. She did a face mask, lit candles, scrolled Pinterest for healing mantras. I watched her pack an overnight bag, perfume, hair straightener, a bottle of wine. She had new lingerie under a folded sweater, thinking I wouldn't notice. She didn't ask me if I'd be okay while she was gone. She didn't say thank you for trusting her. She was in her own little world, one where she was a main character in a self-help movie, and I was the background husband she'd reward after a solo journey of self-discovery. I pretended not to notice any of it. She went to bed early. I waited an hour, then grabbed her phone off the charger while she snored softly next to me. Her messages with Trevor had escalated. They weren't talking about closure anymore. They were planning a reunion, a fantasy, the kind of messages that belonged in a bad romance novel. I counted 3 different times she told him she missed his hands. That alone made me want to throw the phone through a window. Instead, I copied the address again, then turned off her notifications and placed the phone exactly where it was. I lay in bed for another 2 hours, staring at the ceiling, my heart pounding like I'd run a marathon. I wasn't jealous. I wasn't even angry anymore. I was disappointed in myself for not seeing this coming sooner. By Saturday morning, Jenna was practically skipping around the apartment. She wore yoga pants and an oversized hoodie at first, her decoy outfit, I assumed, in case she ran into a neighbor. But I saw her real clothes laid out on the bed, tight jeans, low-cut blouse, and the new lingerie tags already in the trash. She curled her hair and sprayed just a bit too much perfume. You look nice, I said, sipping coffee. She beamed. You really think so? I do. She kissed my cheek. Thank you for being amazing. What time are you heading out? Leaving at 6, she said. It'll take a while to get there. He lives out near Silver Lake now. Text me when you get there, I said casually, just so I know you're safe. She grinned. Of course. She spent the next hour in the bathroom. I heard her humming through the door. She was happy. Actually happy. Like a teenager prepping for prom, not a grown woman walking into an emotional minefield. At 5:45 p.m., she emerged in her final form. Curled hair, perfect makeup, blouse showing just enough cleavage to be accidental. She grabbed her bag and came over. I'll be back in the morning, she said, placing a long, slow kiss on my lips. Thank you again. This means everything to me. Take your time, I said. Get all the closure you need. She smiled. You're the best. Then she left. And the second that door closed, I exhaled for first time all day. I waited until 6:15, then picked up my phone and texted Richard. Me. She just left. Address is the same. Let me know when you get there. 15 minutes passed. Richard, I'm here. That was it. No small talk. No jokes. Just business. At 7:23 p.m., my phone vibrated again, Jenna's name flashing across the screen. I didn't answer. Then came the flood. A barrage of messages in rapid succession. Jenna, what did you do? Jenna, my dad is here. Jenna, Marcus, answer your phone. Jenna, this is insane. Why would you do this? Jenna, pick up, please. I turned off notifications. At 8:15, Richard called. She's in my truck, he said. Is she okay? She's fine. Embarrassed. Trevor nearly pissed himself when I knocked. Opened the door in his underwear. Candles lit. Real romantic. He snorted. I didn't say anything. I didn't yell, Richard added. Didn't touch her. Just told her to get in the truck. We're having a family conversation tonight. About respect. About loyalty. About values. I nodded, even though he couldn't see me. Thanks for letting me know. What now? He asked. I already started packing her things. There was a pause, then a quiet, approving grunt. You're a good man, Marcus. I tried to be. We hung up. I stood in the middle of the apartment, suddenly aware of how quiet it was. I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel relieved. I just felt hollow. I walked to the closet and grabbed a couple of suitcases. One by one, I began folding her clothes, her makeup bags, her little trinkets. I unplugged her curling iron, carefully wrapped it, set it aside. I didn't throw anything. I didn't break anything. It wasn't anger driving me. It was clarity. She made her choice, and now it was time for me to make mine. I sat on the couch, watching the seconds tick by on the microwave clock, like I was waiting for a storm to roll in. Jenna had been gone for just over 2 hours. I'd finished packing most of her stuff. Her clothes were folded into boxes. Her makeup, hair tools, favorite snacks, all placed gently but with finality. The place already felt different. Emptier, colder, quieter. She had no idea her closure session had just been hijacked. I imagined the scene in Trevor's apartment. Candles flickering, soft music playing, maybe some acoustic crap he wrote back when he thought he was the next John Mayer. Jenna, showing up with lip gloss and lingerie, still wearing an engagement ring I gave her 6 months ago. Romantic, in a twisted, delusional kind of way. Then the knock. And Richard, Trevor opening the door in his boxers, probably mid-sentence about healing old wounds. And there, in the hallway, Jenna's dad, ex-Marine, CrossFit enthusiast, not a man known for restraint. I didn't need to be there to know how that scene played out. When Richard called at 8:15 and said, "She's in my truck," I imagined Jenna sitting silently in the passenger seat, mortified. Lipstick smudged, eyes wide, heart pounding. Trevor probably still standing in the doorway, shirtless, wondering how his one last night fantasy turned into a full-blown intervention. "She's fine," Richard had said, embarrassed. Trevor nearly wet himself. I almost smiled at that. Almost. But mostly I felt numb. This wasn't just about betrayal. It was about how easily she walked into it, how normal she thought it was, how little she respected what we had. At 8:47, Jenna called again. I still didn't answer. By 9:10, she'd stopped calling. By 10 o'clock, the apartment was silent again. I thought that would be the end of it. She'd go home, face her parents, maybe cry into her mom's shoulder, and realize she blew up the best thing she ever had. Maybe she'd apologize. Maybe she'd disappear. I was wrong. At 11:30 p.m., the front door swung open. Jenna stood there in the same clothes she'd left in, mascara smeared, hair frizzed from humidity, eyes blazing. Her suitcase was still in Richard's truck, but her fury, that came in with her. "You humiliated me," she snapped, slamming the door behind her. "You called my dad. Were you 12? I stayed seated on the couch, calm as ever. You asked to sleep with your ex. I said go ahead. You said you understood." "I understood perfectly," I said, motioning toward the boxes by the door. "That's why your stuff's packed." She stared at them, then back at me. "You're throwing me out over this?" "This," I repeated slowly, "was you asking to cheat with permission and expecting me to wait at home like a good little fiancée. It wasn't cheating. I told you. It was closure. Just one night." "How thoughtful," I said. "Would have been even better if you'd asked during the vows. Do you take this man to be your husband right after you go have sex with your ex?" She started crying. "You're twisting everything. I was honest with you." Honest would have been saying you wanted out. Not, "Let me bang Trevor one more time to make sure I love you." Her hands balled into fists. "You said yes. You gave me your blessing. I gave you your freedom. I corrected." Same thing. She tried everything. Tears, apologies, anger, seduction. She even walked over and straddled me, whispering about how she only wanted me, how she was doing it for us. I didn't move. She pulled away when she realized nothing was working. "This is insane. We were fine. We had one argument, and now you're burning it all down." "One argument?" I laughed. "You planned a weekend to sleep with another man, lied to your family, bought new lingerie. You thought I'd be grateful that you gave me a heads up." She stood there breathing hard, arms shaking, then finally picked up her phone and called an Uber. 10 minutes later, she was gone, and I locked the door behind her. Sunday morning, the reinforcements arrived. First was Kayla, her best friend and certified enabler. She showed up at my door with sunglasses and fake concern. "You need to hear her side," she said. "I heard it," I replied. She wanted to sleep with Trevor. Message received. "It's not like that," she said, stepping into my apartment uninvited. She has trauma from that relationship. This was therapy. I raised an eyebrow. Therapy usually happens in an office, not in your ex's bed. "You're being completely unreasonable," she said. "She chose you, after she chose him for one last ride." "I'm good, thanks." Kayla rolled her eyes. "God, men are so insecure. It's just sex." "Cool," I said, opening the door again. "Then she can be just single." She stormed out. Then came Monday. Jenna's mom, Linda, in full dramatic mode, crying before I even opened the door. "Marcus, sweetie," she started. "She hasn't eaten since Saturday. She's devastated. Should have thought about that before she scheduled a sex appointment." Linda gasped. She made a mistake. She was confused. "Pretty specific confusion," I said. "New lingerie and all." She told me about that. Linda said quickly, it was to feel confident, not for him. I almost laughed. "Right, the confidence lingerie." "You're throwing away 3 years over one silly request?" she asked. "She asked to cheat," I replied. "It's not silly. It's disqualifying. It's not cheating if you agreed." I agreed she could do whatever she wanted as a single woman. That hasn't changed. Linda's eyes narrowed. "People will talk. The wedding is in 6 months. What will they think?" "There it is," I said, smiling. "The real concern." She left without saying goodbye. But I wasn't done with surprises yet, because Monday afternoon, Trevor showed up at my job. Security called me down to the lobby. He stood there in a faded band shirt, skinny jeans, and that damn guitar pick necklace he always wore. "Bro," he said, "we need to talk." I tilted my head. "Do we?" He ran a hand through his greasy hair. "Look, I didn't know she was engaged." "Okay." "She said you guys were having problems, that you were controlling." I laughed, actually laughed. "She said that while planning to cheat?" He shrugged. "You called her dad, man. That's psycho behavior." I stepped closer. "And you lit candles for another man's fiancée. That's homewrecker behavior." "She said you were cool with it." I said, backing away. "Still am. She's all yours." His face changed. "Wait, what?" "No, I'm not looking for anything serious. You should have thought about that before offering your services as closure boy." Security escorted him out when he started yelling about me ruining his life. But the truth was simple. He didn't ruin anything. They did. Together. By Tuesday, I thought the storm had passed. Jenna was gone. Her things were gone. My phone was silent. The apartment smelled like peace again. No lavender body spray. No whiffs of her shampoo. Just still air and a blank future. It should have felt like heartbreak. Instead, it felt like release. Then came the knock. Not one knock. Not two. But a full-fledged intervention. I opened the door to find all of them standing there. Jenna, her mom Linda, her dad Richard, and her younger brother Todd, who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Jenna was dressed down, all natural makeup and soft eyes, like she was trying to rebrand herself as the good girl who made a bad call. Her posture was practiced, humble, demure, arms folded just enough to look fragile, not confrontational. "We're here to help you two work through this misunderstanding," Linda said gently, like we were in some Lifetime movie scene. She clasped her hands together, smiling too brightly. "No misunderstanding," I said, leaning against the doorframe. She wanted to sleep with her ex. I said, "Okay." Now she's single. Richard shifted uncomfortably, clearly not thrilled about being dragged into Act 2 of this disaster. Todd looked confused and awkward, like someone had just hit pause on his video game to make him attend family therapy. "She didn't actually do anything," Todd blurted out. "You stopped her before it even happened." "Exactly." Jenna jumped in, eyes watering. "I didn't sleep with him. I didn't even kiss him. You stopped me before anything happened." "Because you got caught," I said flatly. "Not because you changed your mind." "That's not fair," she cried. "I was going to tell Trevor we should just talk." Richard let out a low snort that said otherwise. I crossed my arms. "In your lingerie?" Jenna froze, then stammered, I just want to feel good about myself." "Mission accomplished," I said. "You felt good enough to destroy our relationship." Linda stepped forward now, voice shaking with emotion. "This is insane. One night, one stupid night that didn't even happen, and you're ending everything?" I looked her dead in the eyes. "She planned it, lied to you, lied to me, bought lingerie for her ex while wearing my engagement ring. The only reason she didn't go through with it is because her dad showed up." Linda's jaw clenched. "Because you called him, like a child." "Because she acted like one." I snapped. "Who asks their fiancé for permission to cheat and expects a warm welcome when they return?" Jenna started sobbing again, reaching for my hand. I didn't give it. Richard finally spoke. "Jenna, enough?" Her head whipped toward him. "Dad." He looked tired, old in a way I hadn't seen before. The man's made his decision. "You're supposed to be on my side," she shouted. "I am on your side," he said quietly. "That's why I'm telling you to stop embarrassing yourself further." Linda turned to him, furious. "How can you say that? She's your daughter." "She's also a grown woman," he said, "who asked her fiancé if she could sleep with another man. He said yes by saying no. It's done." Todd muttered. "This got way messier than I thought." "Marcus," Jenna said, her voice cracking, "you're really doing this? You're really throwing us away." I'm not the one who thought our relationship needed a farewell tour with your ex. She looked crushed. I chose you. I was always going to choose you. After you chose him first, I said coldly, for closure. No one spoke, just the sound of her tears and Linda's quiet sniffles. You were my best friend, Jenna whispered. You still are. Friends don't ask each other to sleep around for therapy. Richard extended his hand. We'll go now. I shook it, not for him, for closure. As they left, Todd stopped and gave me a sympathetic look. That was brutal, man. Linda, through clenched teeth, whispered, This isn't over. I shut the door without responding. But she was right, because that night, Jenna began blowing up my phone. Texts, calls, DMs, all of it. Jenna, I'll go to therapy. We can do couples counseling. Jenna, I'll never talk to Trevor again. Jenna, it was a moment of weakness. You're the love of my life. Jenna, please don't throw us away. Jenna, this isn't fair. I didn't actually do anything. Jenna, you're punishing me for being honest. The entitlement was breathtaking. Like she thought confessing made it noble. Like she deserved a medal for announcing her intention to cheat before actually doing it. I didn't respond. The next morning, I called the venue and began the cancellation process. Called the caterer, the DJ, the florist. Explained things had changed. They were kind, curious, but professional. The apartment was in my name, so no drama there. Everything else? I wiped clean. Relationship status changed. Social media locked down. Her number blocked. I wasn't angry. I wasn't bitter. Just done. But she wasn't. Because Wednesday, she came to my gym with Kayla in full makeup, fresh leggings, sports bra that screamed, Notice me. They planted themselves on treadmills near me, pretending not to look in my direction. But their conversation? Loud enough for the entire gym. I just feel like some guys are too insecure to handle strong, independent women, Kayla said, practically shouting. It's actually sad, Jenna replied, when men feel threatened by women owning their sexuality. I finished my set, moved to another area. They followed. Kayla kept it going. It's not cheating. It's healing. Some men just can't understand emotional intelligence. I'd had enough. I turned around and raised my voice. Hey everyone, quick poll. Who thinks it's cool to ask your fiancé if you can bang your ex one last time before the wedding? Silence. A guy on the bench press actually sat up mid-rep. Jenna turned crimson. Kayla muttered, Let's go. They left without another word. The gym manager gave me a fist bump. 2 days later, my mom called. She lives across the country. Somehow, Jenna got her number. She said you were having a masculinity crisis. My mom said, and that you were throwing away true love. I groaned. Did she mention she asked for a hall pass to sleep with her ex? My mom paused. She said it was therapeutic closure. Closure. In a bed. That's what I said. She snapped. Then I told her any woman who asks my son for permission to cheat can go find closure at the bottom of a lake. I laughed for the first time in days. God, I love you. I raise you better, she said. So did Richard, apparently. By Friday, Jenna had gone quiet. No more texts. No more calls. I figured maybe, finally, she got the message. Until I saw them, Jenna and Trevor, on a date. Friday night. I was out with a few buddies at our regular bar. Just beers, pool, and trash talk. It was supposed to be a chill night. Healing night. The first time in weeks, I actually felt normal. That's when Mike, my friend since college, nudged me. Dude, he said, leaning over his beer, eyes fixed past me. Don't turn around fast. But guess who just walked in? I knew before I turned. Some part of me already knew. Jenna and Trevor. They walked in like they owned the place, laughing, her arm looped through his, her head on his shoulder. She was dressed to kill in a skin-tight dress and heels that clicked like a warning. He wore the same grungy band tee from when he showed up at my job, still living the dream of being 22 even though he's pushing 30. I froze. For a second, I just stared at the table, my stomach doing a slow backflip. Mike stood up, ready to intervene, but I was done being quiet. So I turned. She didn't see me right away. But Trevor went to the bar to order, and that's when she spotted me. Her expression shifted like a slideshow. Shock, guilt, then sudden defiance. She walked over, heels clicking like gunshots on tile. "Marcus," she said, voice syrupy sweet. "Wow, what a surprise." I raised my glass. "Closure date going well, I see." She blinked. "This isn't a date." I looked her up and down. "In that dress." "I'm single now," she said, lifting her chin. "Thanks to you, I can do what I want." "Absolutely," I said, sipping my beer. "Enjoy. You earned it." Her eyes flashed. "This all could have been avoided if you weren't so dramatic." I raised an eyebrow. "Dramatic?" "It was one night," she hissed. "One night to confirm my feelings for you. That's all I asked." I laughed, loud enough that people turned. "You asked me to let you cheat on me before our wedding. Like I'd just wait at home while you confirmed your love with someone else's anatomy." Trevor returned, drinks in hand. He stopped when he saw me. "Oh, hey, man." I didn't even bother responding to him. Jenna kept pushing. "You threw away our future over nothing. Over an idea that didn't even happen." I tilted my head. "You're literally on a date with the guy you asked to sleep with. And I'm the irrational one." The bar had gone quiet. People were definitely listening now. "It was one night for closure," she repeated. "How's that closure working out?" I asked, "Because from here, you seem wide open." A guy near the jukebox coughed to cover a laugh. Trevor placed the drinks on a nearby table. "Look, man, this is getting out of hand." I cut him off. "Oh, you're Jen now?" I asked, looking at Jenna. "Cute." Then I turned to Trevor. "Did she tell you about the lingerie she bought for your little therapy session? While wearing my engagement ring." His face went pale. "Wait, what engagement ring?" Jenna stepped between us. "Trevor, don't." I didn't let up. "The one I gave her 6 months ago when I proposed, before she decided she needed one last go-round with you for closure." Trevor stared at her. "You said you guys broke up months ago." "We were having issues," she said quickly. "He was controlling." "Controlling?" I snapped. "I let you do whatever you wanted, including giving you the choice to walk away and be with him, which clearly you did." Trevor took a step back. "Jesus Christ. She's done this before, hasn't she?" I asked, eyes narrowing. "Pulled the closure card on you too?" Trevor looked like he'd swallowed a lemon. "Yeah, with her high school boyfriend. I found out later." Jenna grabbed his arm. "We should go." He shook her off. "No, I think I've had enough closure for a lifetime." Then he turned and left without her. Jenna's mouth dropped open. "Trevor." She turned back to me, tears streaming. "Look what you did. You ruined everything." I stood up, towering over her now. Calm, clear. "I didn't ask you to sleep with your ex. You made that choice. I didn't call your dad for fun. I did it because you thought you could cheat and come home like nothing happened." "I didn't sleep with him," she cried. "Because your dad showed up," I said. "Not because you changed your mind. That matters." She tried one last jab. "You're so petty, so vindictive. I hope you die alone." I smiled. Better alone than married to someone who needs to sample someone else's closure before committing. She threw her drink at me. Missed. The bartender whistled. "Ma'am, you need to leave." Security escorted her out. The entire bar was buzzing. A few people even clapped. One guy offered to buy me a drink. I waved him off. "Just bring me some peace." And for the first time in a long time, I got exactly what I wanted. By the following Monday, I thought the saga had reached its end. Jenna had been humiliated in public, dumped by 2 men in 1 week, and escorted out of a bar by security. I'd blocked her on every platform and told every mutual friend that I didn't want to hear her name again. But life wasn't done yet. I started the week with wedding cancellations. The venue, the florist, the DJ, the catering company. all surprisingly understanding. Most refunded partial deposits. Some offered condolences. One even said, "You'd be surprised how often this happens." It was depressing, but oddly cathartic, like scrubbing the last trace of a mistake from my life. And then I got an email from our wedding photographer. Subject line: cancellation plus boudoir shoot follow-up. I nearly deleted it. Figured it was just a formality. But curiosity got the better of me. I opened it. "Hi, Marcus. I'm sorry to hear about the cancellation. Totally understand. Things happen. I'll refund the deposit. Also, please let Jenna know I'll cancel her boudoir shoot for next month. I assume she no longer wants those surprise photos for you." Wait, what? Boudoir shoot? I never knew anything about that. So I replied, asking if he could forward me the thread. 10 minutes later, I got the full email chain. Turns out, Jenna had scheduled a boudoir photo session as a wedding gift for me. Except in the email, she asked the photographer, "Can you keep the images anonymous enough to share with someone special without showing my face? Just in case." Just in case. Those wedding gift photos weren't for me. They were probably going to be Trevor's parting present. The last sexy goodbye before she settled down with a safe option me. Classy. I leaned back in my chair, a chill creeping over my spine. It wasn't just the ass to sleep with her ex. It wasn't just the lies. It was the backup plan. She'd orchestrated the whole thing like a Netflix villain. And if I hadn't called her dad that night, she would have gone through with it. Gifted Trevor those photos, then come back to me and said, "Let's begin our life together." The disrespect wasn't just casual. It was deliberate. Then the social media campaign started. Linda, Jenna's mom, began posting quotes about forgiveness, second chances, and how real love requires understanding. Nothing named me directly, but it wasn't hard to read between the lines. Her Facebook looked like it was written by a Hallmark villain trying to gaslight a community. Comments from her friends: "She deserves another chance. He must have low self-esteem if he couldn't handle the truth. Forgiveness is for the strong." Then came Richard. He commented under one of Linda's posts. "Our daughter asked her fiancé for permission to cheat. He gave it by ending the relationship. Stop embarrassing our family further." Nuclear. The entire post thread exploded. Linda deleted it all within hours. But screenshots live forever. Jenna? Oh! She doubled down. Wednesday, she showed up at my gym again. This time with Kayla. Again in full makeup, activewear that still had the tags on, and voices like sirens trying to draw attention. I ignored them. Completely. Until Kayla decided to yell across the squat racks. "Closure isn't cheating. Grow up." I turned slowly. In what world is asking your fiancé to sleep with her ex not cheating? I asked. No answer. They left. Again. Then I got a call. From my mother. "Sweetheart," she said calmly, "I just had an interesting call from someone named Jenna." I groaned. "Oh, God." "She found you. She said you're going through a masculinity crisis and throwing away true love." Did she mention the part where she asked for a hall pass? Yep. Then I told her, any woman who asks my son to let her cheat can go get closure at the bottom of a lake. I love you. I know. Still, I figured I'd seen the worst. But life always has one final boss. Friday night, I went to a different bar. New crowd, fresh energy. I didn't expect to see Jenna again. But there she was, with Trevor. They weren't hiding it anymore. She was on his lap, giggling, feeding him fries, stroking his hair like they were high school sweethearts. I turned to walk out, but she saw me. "Marcus," she called, almost cheerfully. "Wow, didn't expect to see you here." I just stared, calm, silent. "We're just talking," she said, sliding off Trevor's lap. "This isn't what you think." "I think it's exactly what I think," I said. Trevor looked up, panicked. "Dude, I didn't know. She didn't tell you we were engaged 6 months ago?" I asked that she asked to sleep with you for closure while still wearing my ring. Trevor turned to her. "You said you guys broke up last year." "We were on a break," she blurted. Trevor stood up. "You lied. Again." Then he looked at me. She did this when we were together too. Said she needed closure with her high school ex. Now I get it. He walked out. Jenna spun on me, tears already forming. Look what you did. You ruined everything. I didn't ruin anything. I stopped you from ruining me. You're so vindictive. No, I'm free. She stepped forward. You're going to die alone, Marcus. I smiled. Better than dying inside while pretending this relationship was real. She grabbed a drink off someone's table and threw it. Security? Already on it. Out she went. Again, that was the last time I saw her. But the final cherry on top, a week later, Trevor ghosted her. Apparently. Even he didn't want to be her closure mascot anymore. Richard texted me one last time. Sorry you had to deal with this. You're a good man. She wasn't raised to act this way. I replied, thank you. I wish you peace. And that was it. I changed my number, moved to a new apartment, started seeing someone new, someone kind, someone who believes closure comes from conversations, not copulation. I'm not bitter. I'm not angry. Just thankful. Because when someone asks if they can sleep with their ex for closure, they're really asking if you'll let them violate your boundaries for their own selfish comfort. And if they're willing to ask that, they've already told you everything you need to know. She wanted closure. She got it, just not the way she planned. The end.